Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and I'm super excited because what we've got is 5 rolls of Buffalo Nickels. We have Nic-A-Date. They're all no-date coins, and we actually have an empty folder that's ready to go. So the thing is, I'm going to keep these for 4 more videos after this one, but we're going to be tearing this roll open. I got these 200 from the coin shop. There's a good amount of mint marks. I'd say that I'd estimate around 8 to 12 per roll, but we're just going to do 1 roll per video and space them out a bit. And the goal is to actually fill up this folder by revealing dates. So I was able to get these obviously for super cheap. I made a video in the past. This was also maybe like $9 or $10, but it should be good to do pretty much all the coins that we're looking at here, including for the next videos. So the challenge is to complete this folder, and I'll open it up and show you guys totally empty, and hopefully we can get it all done. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. It's kind of an experiment that's never been done before, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's get into the first roll. We're probably going to first sort the mint marks from the non-mint marks, and then go maybe 5 to 8 at a time. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to split it up and Nic-A-Date these. I'll start with 1 though and just show you how the process works. And for those of you who are newer to collecting the Buffalo Nickels, the mint mark is going to be located, if it's there, right underneath the 5 cents on the reverse of the coin. That's what the front looks like. And I was going through them, and I found this coin, which has a raised back, so I'm assuming that's a 1913. And I'm going to check for a mint mark, because that would definitely bring up the value. It doesn't look like there's anything on it, but this should be a 1913, and we can't really tell from the date there, but the raised back, I'll just take anything to compare it to. This was wearing off so fast that they decided midway through the year to switch it so that there would be kind of a recessed bottom of the coin, and that way the coin would be able to hold up a lot better. But that's a cool first date. I don't think I'm even going to Nic-A-Date it, and I'll just preserve it as is, though I might just as a test. Actually, that could be a good one to test on because I don't think the value is going to be crazy either way, but we know that we've got an early date to start us off. No way. So I was just going through this one, and it looks like there's even a D mint mark on the back of this one, and it's got that raised date. So looking at the front, again, you can't see any 1913, but I'm almost positive that this one is actually going to be a second find, also from the very first year. And yeah, it's totally raised there, so that's great. Yeah, really excited about this one, and it'll be great to have it in the folder. All right, so I just finished up the sorting, and these ones are the mint marks. I think that I'll save those towards the end, or maybe I'll kind of stagger things, but I'm going to start by Nic-A-Dating whichever one of these does not have the D mint mark, and I believe that that's pretty clearly this one, just as a test. So the way that we do this process, and I'm going to do it on a paper towel, is we're going to put 1 drop of this right on the date. I'm going to try to do as small of a drop as I can because it's probably a little too much, but I want to save time and, you know, get the video done. And I found that I've had good results personally just doing a small drop applied right onto the surface where the date should be, and the date magically appears in like 30 seconds to a minute. All right, so like I said, I've got the ferric chloride, and I'm just going to do a tiny drop, apply it right on that date region. And again, I could be doing a little less, but I just want to show how it works. And I've found that this actually just works quite well. You end up wiping it off after about a minute, so I'll just let it fast forward. So it's been about a minute, and I'm just going to wipe it off using one of these towels. After this video, I'll probably clean these off a little bit more to make sure that there's no residue. But yeah, we wipe it away. There's going to be some discoloration, which will really hurt the value. Alright, and there is our coin. To be honest, this date had been so worn, so it actually needed a second round of the Nic-A-Date, but you can see the 13 right there. Though it's not super easy, often with Buffalo Nickels anyways, you kind of have to manipulate the light, so this is certainly an example of that. But in person, it's definitely a 3. I think you can see it pretty well there. So that's our first find, 1913p, and I know that it works. Now we're going to start with 5 no mint mark, so from the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania mint to start us out. But we've already got one folder filler, and I'm not sure what this is worth. I'm going to have those values down here in the corner, and what I'm going to do is go by a third of the value, or maybe just look on eBay and see what they're selling with the Nic-A-Date treatment for on eBay. So like I said, here are the 5. I'll apply and we'll see what happens. Alright, so it looks like we've got some dates that are showing through, so I'll wipe them off and get to searching through these dates. So our first one, and you can see the effects on this one a lot better than on that 1913, is very clearly a 1917. So it has to be a new date because we knew that, you know, it's the first non-raised date one, but that's a good find. And one thing that I'll be keeping track of across the series is what % of our coins are coming from what decade and what year and that sort of thing. This one definitely looks like a 1923. So again, a little bit earlier. Remember that Buffalo nickels went from 1913 to 1938. This one is 1927. So another new date, excuse me, but a solid one nonetheless. It's kind of cool to see the different variety. Here is very clearly a 1916. So again, lots of different dates, but they are skewing towards the earlier, which was to be expected. 1920 is going to round out our 5th one, so I'll put those in the book, but it looks like we've got a solid start for sure. And there they are. I'm kind of curious to see how soon we can fill things up. I mean, obviously there's going to be more, you know, Philadelphia mint stuff than the mint marks, so that could impede stuff long term, but I'm about to pick another, I'm going to say 10 this time from this pile, and do them all at once and see what we have. Additionally, across all the coins, I think I'm shooting for 15 different dates and mint marks, or in other words, I should say, folder spots filled out. So I'm letting these ones sit right here, and in a few seconds, I'll just dab each of them off, and yeah, I'll show you revealed dates. I can see a few of them as they're kind of sitting in the Nic-A-Date, while others are a little bit harder to tell. So I'm kind of curious to see if we can see all of them. That 1913 before was the first one where I really had a hard time telling what date it actually was. And here we go. Going to start out with a 1919. I'm pretty confident that that's what that date is. It looks like there's a definite loop kind of in the top of that last digit. So that's a good one. 1915, and I forget exactly what dates we found before, but I'll obviously put them in the folder right after this so I can know how we've done. 1916, so all have been really early dates. That was a big thing that I'm kind of curious about, is how many of these are going to be early and how many of these are going to be the later ones. That one, if I had to guess, looks like that was one of the ones where I couldn't tell before, either 1917 or 1927. Not totally sure. I might Nic-A-Date some of the troublesome ones at the end to see if that'll make a difference. This one also looks tough to tell, maybe 1919 or 1929, but I'm going to have to do that one again later as well. 1919 right there, so that's another teen. Maybe the teens are easier to tell just from the way they've been struck. 1918, that's like coming through really well. Before I couldn't see it at all. Here is a 1920. Nice. That's cool. We've got another 1919. That one's maybe a little clearer. And then lastly, a 1915. So, yeah, interestingly, seems like the ones that are easy to recognize are the teens, whereas before, these also could be teens, and I'm just struggling to see it. But maybe these, you know, the 20s, the way they were struck, leads them to being tougher to identify when Nic-A-Dating. Okay, so not too bad. I think we had 3 additions, we had 5 repeaters, and then the 2 that we're going to retest. I guess at this point we can also, I'd kind of forgotten about it, put in our 1913D raised ground one, and I think that's the lowest mintage of anything we've found so far. Right there, it says 5.3 million, whereas the Philadelphia one had 31. And I guess now can also be a good time to review some of the really low mintage stuff. Looks like any of the dates with the early mint marks are pretty good, especially the 13S, either one, really. And then as we move along, there's just a lot of lower mintage stuff like the 1918S, and I think there's one, 24D, 24S, 26S is especially low, 970,000. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to look for. I think also 31S might be slightly better. But again, when you have Nic-A-Date coins, that is an unsightly kind of detractor from the overall appearance, and that's going to really hurt the value. I was able to source these for so cheap, though, that it's just a fun game for me to play, revealing the dates and making a folder out of it. And down here we have these, which is 6 D-Mint Mark 1s. Maybe it's 5, I forget. This is 3 S-Mint San Francisco, and then 2 that are pretty tough to tell. I can't tell if there's really small mint marks on them or if it's not, so that'll actually be a good test. Kind of towards the end of the video, we can Nic-A-Date the back of the coin as well to see if we can't reveal more of the mint mark. But we'll start with doing these 6 Denver Mint ones and seeing what happens. And it looks like we're ready to go. It ended up only being 5. I don't know, it's kind of late at night, so I guess I just forgot that it wasn't 6. This one, though, looks quite worn, so I'm a little less optimistic about finding the date on that one, but I'm sure that a few of them, I think I can see some numbers kind of showing through on a couple of them. And I was wrong. As soon as I brushed it off, I could clearly see the date on this one, and that's a 1917. So it really just took off all of whatever is going on with that coin. So I'm pretty pleased about that. That's a 1917 D find. So as it has been the case, you know, another 1917 right there. All of these are really pretty early. So that's definitely been the theme that I've learned, is that there's not a lot of like 1935 Buffalo nickels seemingly hiding in these. Is that another 1917? I kind of want to zoom in, because I'm not totally sure. Maybe I'll have to look at it more off camera. That one's a little tougher to diagnose. I think it's 1917. I'll check it again, like I said, once this clip is done. Here is a clear 1916, so another teen date mint mark, probably lower mintage as well, and then a 1920. So it looks like we got a solid group here, and yeah, I'm going to do a little more examination on that last one, and then put them in the folder. And just a little mintage update, the 16D was 13.3 million, then we had the 17D, which was 9.9 million, and actually the lowest mintage so far, outside of our raised ground mint mark, was this 1920D, coming in at 9.4. So next up is going to be the rest. I think I'm just going to do the rest of all of the non-mint mark coins and see what happens. And there are the 13 remaining coins I'm going to do. I'm just going to wipe them off quickly. I'll be right back. And on this lot, I was able to pretty much see all the dates pretty clearly, and we had a few finds, but I'll just run through all of them for you. We got a few new dates that is what I meant to say right here. So 1917, we've got this one is a 1914, which was a new one, and I think we found another one that might have been a little bit nicer, but I'm going to put that to the side. We had a 1916, 1918, 1917. Here is a 1925, which we needed, so that's a good one. Keep progressing towards that total. I'm not exactly sure where we are at the moment on that hunt. There was a 1919. That's 1915. Like I said before, just no 1930s or anything like that. So the 16 and 19. Let's see. This one was 1920. We had another 25. And then we had this 1914. I think I'm going to go with this one to be put in the folder. And now it's time for the S-Mints, where we know that they are S-Mints, so there's 3 of those, hoping for one of the better dates. And we got some more interesting results out of these next ones. So this one was from 1919, so that's our first S-Mint, and that's a success. 1920, also an S-Mint, so solid. I mean, I know that they are, but still cool to confirm it. And then that one looks like it's from 1916, so it's a little bit tougher to discern, but we've got it. Now the cool thing was, so on this one there was nothing there, but here we were able to find an S mint mark. It's kind of tough to see with the camera, but I think you should be able to see it right about there. So yeah, I'm going to Nic-A-Date that one, and then while I do that, I'm also going to redo the 3 that were a little bit tougher to tell. Okay, so I was able to finish up, and we got some good finds, but the real one is this coin, and I'm trying to get the right angle on it so that you can see it, but I'm thinking that that's a 1913, and that would mean that it's a 1913D. So let me know what you all think It could be a 15, but the way that it really looks like there's that curvature in the 3, and then the top looks, you know, how a 3 would look. Let's see if we can get it from a different angle here. That, you know, I'm struggling to see if it's a 3 or 5. Maybe I'll put it on a stand and then rotate it around a bit in front of you for a second. So yeah, here is the coin. Super tough to tell from there, and you kind of have to shift the light around, play with that until, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. If you have any ideas what it might be, though, please tell me. I want it to be a 1913, so maybe I'm like doing some wishful thinking here, but yeah, like from that angle, I feel like that's just got to be a 13, a 3 on that last letter there. So, anyways, solid finds. I'm also going to show you what else we got, and I forget the order that I placed them in. This one, probably 1925, but it's definitely still a no date, as is this one. So this is pretty much just worth spending money at this point. This is a 1923, almost definitely a 23 there. Unless it's a 28. No, I think it's a 23. That's what I thought when I first saw it. And that's the 23S, so that'll be a cool find. And then over here we had, that's the potential 13, but this is a 1915. I think that was the P mint mark that we tried to see if there was a additional mint mark on, but we decided that there wasn't. So I'll place those in the folder and do a brief wrap up. And here is the wrap up. So these are the ones that did not quite make the folder. Interestingly, I think I found another mint mark, a 1916S, but we'd already found that one. There's also the 1917D. Those were the only mint mark repeaters. Otherwise, we had a good spattering 1914, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then one from 25. And then over here, there were 2 of the ones that we couldn't find. We had, if you include the 1913D unofficial, the Type 2 non-raised date, there were 20, but I'm going to just say 19 for now. I'd like to hear your opinion, and then going forward in the series, I can either work it in or not. But we got a bunch of different ones, and this is a really solid collection. I think I paid around $6 for this roll, so, you know, factor in the Nic-A-Date, call it $2, or maybe even, it's really like 50 cents. This is a pretty good collection for $6.50. So really happy about it, and I can't wait to keep tracking the different date breakdowns and mint mark ranges and that sort of thing with you. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more content, and get in touch with me or contact on treasuretown.yt.com, my website, my Facebook, Treasuretown, my Twitter, at treasuretown_YT, or my Instagram at treasuretown_YT. Looking forward to seeing you on some of my other videos.